Hello everyone and welcome to another News Coolum video. Uh, I'm actually going to make this a short introduction because I'm already on the road. We had to drop off one of the little guys at the vet and they're not going to be ready for another 5 hours or so. Actually about 3.5, 4 hours at this point. So I'm sort of bringing you in the middle of this trip, but because I had the extra time and I had a lot of shopping to do, I decided, well, why not continue that last video that I did before and start checking the different chargers along I-5, except this time I'm going north. So I'm heading up to Reading, and I'm not going to take a whole lot of time at each one of these charging stops. Most of them I just want to validate that they're working. It seems like I have a lot of the time, but I really don't actually have that much time when I have to account for how much more driving I have to do. So I'll probably only visit these sites for about 5 minutes at a time, almost a always be charging model, unless I have something else to do. I'm here at Vittles restaurant off of I-5 in Anderson. Had a nice breakfast, got a piece of pie to go, been using the charger. My battery was cold though, so I really didn't get that much out of this CPE 250. PG&E shut off the power and it tripped our charger, and I didn't realize it. So that's part of why the conditioning used so much energy early on, and the efficiency is so bad. Like I said, I'll probably just take about 5 minutes. I might not even charge at all of the sites because this is Thanksgiving weekend. The sites are probably going to be busy, and like I said, if I don't have a reason to be there, I probably won't need the charge anyway if I'm visiting all of these sites. So it might just be a hop out of the car, check out the chargers, see what's going on. One of the great things about this Anderson site, even though this is a sort of slow CPE 250 with 2 level 2s right next to a restaurant just off of the freeway. On the other side of the freeway is an Electrify America site that has 4 of the higher power units across from a Safeway. So we can check that out before we head up to Reading to do the rest of my shopping, and then start making our way down I-5 and checking out some of these other charging sites along the way that I've used. Some of them are working, some of them probably aren't. So let's get back on the road. So as you can see, the chargers all are filled up. There was actually a Mercedes that just pulled out right before the R1S owner just pulled in. So a lot of cars here, they can take advantage of these higher powers that the Bolt EV can't really. But plus I was here eating anyway, so it really wasn't that big of a deal for me. But it's good to see that these are all up and running. And everybody is, well, this driver probably doesn't need to be here to 98%, but everything is working. I don't think there's an actual line. I don't know how long the R1S owner had to wait, but that's sort of poor etiquette, just to make sure if you're that high, just move. But everything's working, looking good. It's just a busy Thanksgiving weekend, so time to get back on the road. Since the last time I was here, 2 of the stations are down. They're still down. They got hit by a Rivian driver at one point in time. It looks like they've never quite recovered. But 2 of the charge points are still working. And, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Tesla, I think, saw how well used these were and how well received they were, so they decided to join ChargePoint and add some superchargers here. But while I'm here, I'm going to take a run and just look at the bridge. So this still remains, one of my favorite charging stops of all. Just like, if you are traveling, right, just plug in your car and get out and make a nice relaxing walk. I was listening to some family as they were walking in, and they were talking about, I guess they also have like a Christmas light show. Yeah, you can even see it, Christmas lights on the bridge now. So I guess at nighttime, this is probably a pretty spectacular stop as well. I mean, I can't recommend it more, just just nice and relaxing. But I don't need to be here that long. I just wanted to check the status of the chargers. So far, Electrify America has been mostly full. ChargePoint has been mostly empty. Go figure. You know, and this is why I think ChargePoint, you know, that you look at how busy the superchargers are, you look at how busy Electrify America is, even all the turmoil that they're going through, I think ChargePoint has a lot of opportunity, you know, to improve their charging sites, their stations, get these ones fixed, put some higher power options in. You know, it's nice that they have the out of order signs on the units, but they need to actually fix them quickly. And notice here too, this is much better. That other, the Vittles charger, they reversed these on the cable management. I think the CCS one needs to be on bottom so that it doesn't get tangled up when you pull the cord out. So time to head out. All right, so this is exciting. You know, I might not be an expert on EV charging, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So these are sort of a new charging, this is a new sort of charging site to me. I've never used this one before. It went in recently. I think it's technically EV Gateway is the name of it. I pulled into the only one that actually has a screen that's working. These are the BTC Power Slim models. These are usually 50 kilowatt, 125 amps. Sometimes they're only 120. Yeah, so this is the LS model, and output is, well, 115 amps maximum. So that's sort of a little bit different. I'm hoping that if the screen is operating, then it's working. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to put my credit card in and see if it works just without any sort of an app or anything. All right, I got my credit card out, and let's see if this works. Click. And that's that BTC Power thump, the contactors. And I didn't actually swipe my credit card, so this looks to be free. You know, I'm not necessarily here to take free juice, and I'm not a big fan of free either. I think if they were charging, then maybe it would be a good idea to have these other units up. Right now, they're all powered down, or at least they appear to be powered down. This is the one that appears to be working. And you know, it's putting out okay power, but I'm pretty high up in my battery already, so we're not going to get more than about 100 amps. Yeah, and then this one is off as well. But yeah, these are working. And then of course for a hotel, you know, they have these split power, or these double, I guess, head level 2 posts, which, you know, is probably preferable. 90% of the time if I'm at a hotel, I'm going to be using these. Yeah, it's Zero Impact Solutions. So yeah, I think right now, if they don't get more chargers up, they're going to be having zero impact. But these are nice. These are great. And you know, for a bigger battery EV, say you were here with like a Silverado EV with a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack and staying the night, those level 2 chargers, I'm guessing, are probably 30, maybe 32 amps at most. Mine only be 16. We can check the post here. These are not going to, let's see. These are not going to fill up a big battery EV overnight, but if you do have a big battery EV, my suggestion would be just to plug in this right? 50 kilowatts, you're looking at, and really it's less than 50 kilowatts. These might actually only be 40 kilowatt. You're looking at least 4 to 6 hours to charge up from empty to full. If you're conditioning your battery, if you're making it a short night, or if you're checking into your room and then running some errands, these would all still be more valid. But like I said, I'm not really here to siphon off the juice. One last thing that I will note, just leave it on this. This is north. So what you're seeing here are south-facing chargers. BTC Power already has low-quality screens that die. Cigarette burn out quickly. Facing south, it's only going to exacerbate that. Without any sort of covering, without any sort of protection to these interfaces, never, ever, ever have a screen facing south. That's my recommendation to these charging providers. Unless, of course, you're in the southern hemisphere, then I guess never have them facing north. So let's go ahead and just shut this down. Like I said, I'm not here to steal free juice. Make sure these buttons work. So that hardware button should have worked, but it doesn't appear to be. The software one did though. So I like to have those hardware buttons working, especially on these BTC Power units. Again, they have a tendency to have burnt out screens. This will give us a little basic information, not much. And like I said, they didn't really charge us, so we're good. And then we can be on our merry way or whatever. So I just wanted to check this site out. It's a new one to me up here in Reading, but it's a great place at the hotel. And like I said, there's a couple more level 2s over on that side. So just overall, if you're in an EV traveling, this is probably a good option for you to stop. And from something new to something old, or well, yeah, this charging site I've used before. This charge point, there's only a single DC fast charger here. There's a level 2 as well, right next to a Target. But this is a great location. Actually, you could just walk across the street, get some food. There's some places to eat in here. And then it's just off of the Highway 44 and I-5. So, you know, it's a really great travel spot, but as you can see, it's only 62.5 kilowatt. Not great. And then this is what I was talking about. See this here, how it's under the CHAdeMO, makes that really a difficult thing to pull out. So if you do need to use that, you might need to wind the cable through. And then of course these tend to activate pretty quick. This is from the time that I swiped the card, not from the time that it was hooked up. You know, that was, from the time it was hooked up, is probably 10 seconds less than this, or actually probably 20 seconds less than this. So you can get a pretty good sense of how quickly these start. About 15 seconds is how quickly these start up. And then of course we're ramping right up. I'm at 70% though, so it's gonna still be already tapering. But yeah, so great site. I used this one when it was still a Tritium V-fill. Not a big fan of those chargers. They never worked great. Even for the Bolt EV, they were power limited. They were loud. They had issues. But again, let's just take a step back, because I mean, they have level 2 here, which might be okay, but who wants to level 2 charge and then walk for miles and miles and miles? I think if you're gonna service something like a shopping mall like this with a CVS, a Target, things like that, you do need these higher power units, but something where someone's gonna wanna be here for 30 minutes to an hour. But just, you can't have just one of them, right? Like ideally you'd want to maybe even if you're going to use the CPE 250s here instead of the ChargePoint Express Plus, I would say you would want at least 4 of them and have them all power linked, so they're 125 kilowatt. And then that would give enough plugs to actually make it a noteworthy site. And then also, you know, give people options for like grocery shopping, retail plaza shopping, that sort of thing. Yeah, and you can see we are here in Redding, California. And this is what I was talking about. Every single one of these orange pips along here, these are CEC grant funded sites that, as far as I'm understanding it, ChargePoint actually owns the equipment and operates it. It's a lease, almost like what you'd see from EVgo or Electrify America or Tesla. So as long as they can get approval for the spots and there's sufficient power drop, they could add as many chargers as they want, and they could add the speed of chargers that they want. So there's really no excuse along I-5 to not be putting in more compelling, higher power, like their ChargePoint Express Plus units. It's going to draw a lot of people. We saw how busy the Electrify America and the superchargers were compared to these ChargePoint sites. So that's a huge opportunity for ChargePoint. But at least you can say one thing about them is they work. So, I mean, I have no issues with their reliability. Yeah, they had a couple of them down, but that was literally an R1T drove over one of the posts, pulled out all of the electrics, so they basically had to start that all from scratch. Unfortunate. They need to repair these faster, but at the same time, I treat that almost like I would treat vandalism. So, but yeah, so let's, and then of course, this is one thing I don't like about these units is this screen protector. You can never interact with the screen the way you want to. But I'm burning daylight. It's time to go. So all of my shopping here in Redding is done. And technically I have 2 hours to get back to pick up our little guy, but that might not be all that much time. So like I said, it's at least I think another hour just driving at freeway speeds. And then there are at least a few more chargers that I want to check on the way back. One of them I know for sure probably isn't functioning, and I might want to grab something from that location anyway. But yeah, it's time to get jamming back from Redding. Let's hit the road. All right, so this is the Red Bluff charge point. Everything looks in order. There are actually 2 other EVs charging. One looks like it's actually level 2 staying at the hotel, which is great. But again, these are operational. Still only the 62.5 kilowatt. And again, this is a site that ChargePoint could easily add one of their Express Plus or 2 of their Express Plus units, be pumping out 200 kilowatt per stall, up to 400 kilowatt. There's a McDonald's right next door. There's a lot of stuff right off the freeway, interchange with a major scenic highway and I-5. So there's lots of opportunity here, and hopefully ChargePoint can start pushing to get some of these sites expanded with some of their faster charging. I'm just happy to see some other people using it. There's a Kia Niro EV, I think it is. I think they said Ventura on the plate, so some of my old stomping grounds. But again, burning daylight and need to head out. All right, well, we're here at the TA Travel Plaza. They have this nice FreeWire Boost charger. So I want to see let's see what happens. Processing. So use the card below. Unlike the Wall Street Journal host, I'm going to insert my card and then remove it. And then, yeah, it's going to say plug in. So these are the Rima with the handles. I think those are pretty cool. Charge session starting up. That was a criticism I was going to have of the Wall Street Journal. And you could use green lots, the apps, all of that. But I kept seeing her, tapping and swiping and tapping and swiping. And I think it was actually the pay turn, not the NIAX, And she was telling us on screen in the video, yeah, here we go, starting right up, that it was telling her to swipe or whatever, and it does say swipe, right? But if you have a chip card, I've only ever known slide your chip in, right? You insert your chip, and we saw that with the PBS Terra host who did the same thing, where he, and we're charging it 50 kilowatt, right? Nice, because we're down to about half battery. And he at least acknowledged it, right? Because he was driving that Rivian and went to the Pismo Beach Electrify America, and he was going to proclaim that every single one of those chargers was broken. And then he got to like Paso Robles or Atascadero, and then he realized, oh, maybe I should be inserting my chip card. He inserted his chip card, and sure enough, it worked. So, you know, I'm getting less and less tolerance for some of these, you know, journalists who are covering electric vehicle charging. I don't know that I can trust, like I said, Wall Street Journal, when they said, oh, it says to swipe. Well, I just inserted my chip card, also like the icon instructions say to do, and, you know, it starts right up. So I'm already kind of questioning the validity of some of those failed chargers from Wall Street Journal, but this isn't about them and their sensationalist journalism. This is about having a nice TA travel charger, 150 kilowatt, still has the CHAdeMO post, two you know, electric vehicle spots dedicated. It's a nice location. You have food on both sides, right? You could go over there, but this is the travel plaza, so you have like the Subway, the Arby's. You're just off the freeway. Again, you can see things are getting busy though with like, I mean, I guess we're around lunchtime, but also just it's Thanksgiving, so things are starting to heat up. But anyway, I've had enough here. I mean, like I said, I'm just checking to make sure everything's working. We've been charging for 2 minutes. You know, and I think these are a reasonable cost if I remember correctly. Oh, now not so much anymore. It's 50 cents a kilowatt hour. And then I can just let them know that plug is returned to charger. It's giving me the information. Just a couple kilowatt hours, 1.71 delivered, 55% battery. And then we're getting back on the road. I just wanted to check this out, show it off. It's a nice site, and still working. Lots of amenities, lots of stuff to do here. So come get your charge. All right, well, we're at an old trusty station here, the EVgo in Orland, which, according to the Pilot Flying J build out and plug share, the one just across the freeway there, number 1019, is slated for construction. Nothing's started yet. I checked as I was driving by. Now, this is one of the advantages of this is one of the advantages of EVgo, I should say, with the Bolt EV or GM products is instead of coming up and swiping your card, tapping your card, or whatever, you can just come and grab your plug and plug in. So it's a slightly more convenient, it's a slightly more convenient way of paying just the auto charge, which, you know, this should be working. It says it's new, and so it's just a little bit slow. And the thing is, what I found is I've had auto charge not work a few times, and in all of those cases, the credit card reader, the RFID reader, nothing worked. So it tells me that the station itself was having an issue. And then I just got a message on my phone that my session started. Thank you. So this is just a 50 kilowatt charger. So 44 kilowatt right now is about normal. These cigarette burns are also unfortunately normal for these BTC power units, the BTC Slim. There is a restaurant here. That's why I think these are actually appropriate for this location. If you're using these chargers, hopefully, either you have a slower charging EV anyway, or you're gonna be here at the restaurant for like an hour or whatever, getting a sit-down meal. There's fast food across the way. And like I said, the 350 kilowatt Pilot EVgo stations are going in on the other side. but I've had pretty good luck with this location. Again, level 2 chargers if you have an e-bike or a plug-in hybrid, something like that. Maybe that's a little bit more appropriate. But I mean, these are just, you know, I don't know how receptive this screen is. Ooh. But it's just kind of locked on that. But I mean, EVgo has been doing okay. I just wanted to call this out because this is sort of another lost opportunity for EVgo, just like ChargePoint, where they have these great locations from their CEC grant funds, but they only put in the 50 kilowatt chargers that they were paid to put in, right? And it's like, feels like you're just doing the bare minimum at that point. At least with ChargePoint, they said we'll do 50 kilowatt and expand to 125 kilowatt, which they've done. Little did they know that by the time they got around to doing 125 kilowatt, that was already slow by modern EV standards. So ChargePoint also needs to up their game. But I mean, imagine if even just half of these stalls were 350 kilowatt split power, so 175 kilowatt per stall. It would make these a lot more compelling as a highway charging stop. And like I said, this is one of those things where I feel like EVgo, ChargePoint, Electrify America, some of these charging providers actually have a huge advantage right now because they already have a foot in the door at some of these locations. So expanding and improving these sites, to me, should be priority number one, unless there's a gap in the coverage, and then then you're going to want to add more. So EVgo is going to be in a good place in Orland, California. 350 kilowatt chargers on one side, 50 kilowatt chargers on the other. They could still improve this site a little bit. I mean, it looks like these are already plumbed anyway for conduits. Again, could you imagine putting in some additional posts, some additional high-powered chargers, and then just really pushing this site to being a great travel plaza? And then EVgo is going to really have two great spots on either side of the freeway. Anyway, we've stayed too long, 3 minutes too long, and just wanted to show off AutoCharge, show this site off because it's still doing well. And I mean, I got no complaints about EVgo. They're doing what they need to be doing, and I appreciate it. And I think a lot of EV drivers are starting to appreciate it now too, as they're seeing these faster EVgo stations go in as alternatives to Electrify America. They really are good chargers. And that's why I said my issue with ChargePoint is they have just as good of chargers. They're just not putting them in, and they're not putting them in where they need to. So, all right, we got to run though. Hi, Henry. Hi, little Henry. Oh boy. Henry. You're shivering. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to turn this up. Okay. There you go. Keep it 72. All right. Well, the Bolt EV will stay on for an hour, running climate control as long as you don't turn it off. So I'm going to just leave it on like that. And this is actually sometimes how you see my energy usage for climate go through the roof, is because I have a pet and I'm leaving the car on. Right now I think it's actually running the heater to get it up to 73, but it probably won't stay on for very long because of the sun. So I need to go run and grab some cat food and check out the charging site while we're here. Amigo! See you, Space Cowboy. Yeah, it looks like everything is going all right. We've got a Rivian R1S on one of the 350 kilowatts. I checked out this site the other day, and all of the chargers were up, I think, except for maybe one plug was down. So 150 is good in use. And then we have the Hyundai Ioniq over here on the other 350 kilowatt. Unfortunate layout here because now there's no parking technically, but that's the only space where a Leaf could get in, and that charger over there is not occupied. Not sure. I think in this kind of configuration I would rather see that unit moved to the middle so a Hyundai Ioniq could pull in nose first still and be able to use it, that would be ideal, because this is really the spot that they should be using. But yeah, good to see it's in use. Busy but not too busy, open spots. So good job, Electrify America. And just like that, the chargers are empty. A couple of fast charging EVs in and out on the 350 kilowatt chargers. Someone took off with their Thanksgiving haul and their trunk open, so they had to stop and pick it up. Nothing but drama here at Walmart. And it's time to hit the road. So let's get little Henry back. Are we good, Henry? Hi, Henry. We're good, huh? Oh, he says, I know you. I sniff you. Let's hit the road, Henry. Let's hit the road. No whining this time. All right, well, that's a wrap. I got little Henry inside. Got to get them some canned food, get a little bit of recovery. We went 253 miles, just a little over 253 miles. Lots of errands. Like I said, the 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour, probably not that representative of typical Bolt EV efficiency. This was probably 80% of the driving at 75 miles an hour. Started off on a cold battery because PG&E didn't keep our power on. But yeah, that's pretty much what I was expecting from the chargers in this sort of Northern California I-5 corridor up to Redding. One day I'll probably have to do it from Redding all the way up to Oregon. But also I should note too, this isn't all the chargers that are on this section of freeway. There are some Caltrans 50 kilowatt units. There's a ChargePoint site that's out, which I almost went to because I do need to pick up some stuff from the Olive Pit in Corning. But I knew the charger was down anyway. There's not a whole lot of updates. That's the old CPE 100. I believe it was a Bosch or maybe a Delta, but it's a really slow 24 kilowatt unit. But again, that's sort of my point about ChargePoint. Some of these other networks is they already have their foot in the door. Personally, I think they need to be going to these businesses where they have the lease agreements, where they sold them the equipment and no upgrade package or anything else, and say, hey, look, we've got a deal for you. We're going to replace all of that equipment free of charge with our latest, greatest, either ChargePoint Express or our Express Plus. We'll now own the equipment, but it will operate on your property. And from there, just basically work out the details of who gets paid for what the lease agreement is, how many parking stalls, and then just start upgrading these, because ChargePoint needs to understand that their reputation is on the line when they sell equipment and the purchaser doesn't buy an upkeep agreement. That reflects on them as a company. And then also that equipment a lot of times is dated, and your hosts just can't afford the good stuff, if you will. So they're going to balk at $150,000 for a 400 kilowatt split power to 250 kilowatt posts, right? So yeah, I would say ChargePoint maybe needs to rethink their business model, but they have some great sites, some great locations just off the freeway, already have the lease agreements. Same with EVgo. Their Renew campaign, I think, needs to not just fix broken chargers. I think it needs to improve the site and the site power overall. So I'd love to hear what you think. What have your experiences been driving on a Thanksgiving week, the I-5 corridor? Like I said, I got to get into Henry. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And thank you for watching.
You need help, Henry?